Example, you're offered an investment that will pay you $200 at the end of the first year, $400 at the end of the second year, $600 at the end of the third year, and $800 at the end of the fourth year. You can earn a 12% return on similar investments. What is the most you should pay for this investment today? How do you approach problems like this? Essentially, it's implying that you should not want to invest more than what you're getting back in the future, right? We will be getting back 4 different dollar amounts in the future over 4 different years. The wrong thing to do is to simply add up 200, 400, 600, and 800. In finance, kind of one of the basic rules you learn over time, which is not even written in the books, is that you can never add things up that occur at different points of time. You need to sort of, add up apples rather than apples and oranges and so on. So how do we make them in a way that we can correctly add them up? We need to, for example, bring them all to year 0. Discount back to today. And that's really what the question is asking us to do. We want to evaluate this investment opportunity today. Today is when we are making the decision, invest or not invest, right? So in today's dollars, how much is this whole investment worth? How much are we getting back total in today's dollars? Evaluate it in today's dollars. In other words, we need to find the present value of multiple cash flows, right? This problem is on finding the present value rather than the future value. You can imagine a timeline under which you can put the numbers that are given, and now we have a lot of information that's given. Under year 1, which is at the end of year 1, you can put $200. Under year 2, $400. Under year 3, $600. Under year 4, $800. And you can place the question mark under year 0, which is today. In other words, you need to find, how much this is all worth today. Well, just like with the future value of multiple cash flows, let's find the present value of multiple cash flows by doing the calculations we know from chapter 5, where we were working with single cash flows. So let's break it all into pieces. We have 4 pieces here, 4 different dollar amounts. Let's first look at $200 and ignore the rest. What is the present value today of next year's $200, right? In other words, receiving $200 in a year is just like receiving something today, right? What is the equivalent of 200? That would be today's dollar amount instead, right? Following the present value formula from chapter 5, you would take $200 and divide it by 1 plus the interest rate. The interest rate in this problem is 12%, so you can divide by 1 plus 0.12 or simplify to 1.12. The answer you get is $178.57. In other words, what this means is receiving $200 back from this investment in 1 year is just like receiving $178.57 today. You can also do it in the financial calculator by pressing 200, making it negative, the plus minus key. Then you press the FV key to tell the calculator that this number is my future value. Then you press 12 and IY key. So you have just told the calculator that 12 is my interest rate per year. And then you press 1N. So you just told the calculator that 1 is the number of years in the future. Compute present value, right? The same way you find the present value of $400 that you would be receiving in 2 years. Following the present value formula from the previous chapter, you do 400 divided by 1 plus the interest rate to the second power, which is 1 plus 0.12, that whole thing raised to the second power. Or it can be written in a shorter way, 400 divided by 1.12 raised to the second power. This gives you $318.88. Again, what 318.88 means is receiving $400 in 2 years, right? So waiting for 2 years to get $400 is just like not waiting at all and instead getting slightly less money. You're equally happy with these two options, right? Option 1 being 400 in 2 years, option 2 being 318.88 today, right? So 318.88 is the present value of $400 that you would need to wait 2 years for to get. Again, this could be done in the financial calculator. This time you would use 2 for your N. Then $600 received in 3 years, you find its individual present value. Make sure you change the power to 3, or in the financial calculator, change your N to 3. And lastly, you find the present value of $800 to be received in 4 years. And here, the correct power in the formula would be 4. And in the financial calculator, 4 would be your N, number of years. So we have 4 individual present values, which essentially mean receiving 200 after 1 year, 400 after 2 years, 300 after 600 after 3 years, and 800 after 4 years, right? Is just like receiving these 4 individual present values that we just calculated today, all of them today. You're equally happy with these 2 options, the today's option and the delayed option, right? So now we can answer the question, how much is receiving these 4 different amounts which were given to us worth, which would then tell us how much what is the maximum we would be willing to invest into this investment opportunity today. You simply add up the 4 individual present values and get their sum equal to $1,432.93. This is the answer to the problem. You would not want to invest more than this amount. If you do, you would be losing money. You would invest more than how much you get back. If you invest less, if it's possible, then that's a great profit opportunity for you. Here's another way this problem could be solved. So actually, let me go back to the previous slide, and I will bring up my financial calculator right here. So let's turn it on. Let's make sure everything is cleared. The way I do it is I do a full reset. I press second plus minus, which brings up reset right above it, and then enter. So turn it off, turn it back on. We are now sure that everything is cleared from the calculator's memory. Here's how you can actually do the present value of multiple cash flows in just one step, right? Remember, you cannot do that for the future value of multiple cash flows, but you actually can do that for the present value of multiple cash flows. One step. We're going to use what we call in finance cash flow keys. Press the button that means cash flow, right? We're going to enter our cash flows that are given. Press the button in the second row that says CF, cash flow. Start with that. What does the display show? It shows CF subscript 0 equals 0. What it means is the calculator informs you that cash flow for year 0, which is given, is $0. This is something we can keep as is, if it's true, or this is something that we can change. Should we change it? No. because there's nothing you receive right away. We're not given any cash flow for today, right? Just like, 200, 400, 600, 800. There's nothing today. So we leave it as is, but we want to save it. So you press the button enter. And a little thing appeared on the display, a little extra, like a triangle. It basically means that it has just been saved as $0 for year 0 cash flow. What do you do next? You press the down arrow key in the first row of your calculator. What has just happened? The display now says C01 0.00. This is now cash flow, next cash flow that we would like to enter, right? We're going to be entering essentially 4 cash flows. What's cash flow in year 1? So what's the next cash flow? That's what we now would need to change to 200. So you put 200. You don't change it to negative like we were doing in chapter 5 for future value or present value calculations. You just leave it as is. And you save it by pressing enter again. Now, kind of imagine you're building this table on a piece of paper. You're writing down several rows, right? 1 row per cash flow. So you press the down arrow key again. You kind of want to go to the next line below. But you would expect to see cash flow 02 or something like that, CO2, but it doesn't tell you that yet. Instead, what you see is F01 equals 1. What do you think that could be? F stands for frequency. How many times? So how many times in a row do we have $200? Only once, right? Because another example could have $200 repeating consecutively, but we don't have it here. So this is usually the case in a lot of our problems. And so we want to leave it at 1. So we want to tell the calculator that yes, frequency of 1 is correct. Let's save it. Press enter. Now the down arrow key, after pressing that, now you are asked to enter your cash flow number 2, which is $400. So you press, just like you did with $200, you now repeat the same steps all over again. You press 400, you don't change any signs, leave it as is, because you can think of it being the money you receive rather than spend, right? You press enter to save it, down arrow key, it asks you for the frequency. Again, we only have $400 once consecutively or like total in our problem. You enter, you save it by pressing enter. Down arrow key again. What's cash flow number 3? That's $600. Repeat the same steps. 600, enter, down. It's only once. You press enter again. And actually, you can skip the enter for the frequencies. You can just press the down arrow key, essentially twice in a row. Down, then cash flow number 4. That's the last one we have, $800. You press 800, enter, down. And like I mentioned earlier, you can do enter down, or you can just press the down arrow key one more time, because this is the default. It will be saved as the default value of 1. Cash flow 05, what is it? We have no more cash flow 5, right? That's it. We only had 4 numbers. What do we do next? Now, after we have just entered all the cash flows that are given to us, now the only thing that's missing is we want to tell the calculator that we want to apply a 12% discount rate for every single one of these given cash flows. And then we want to find their combined present value using that discount rate. So first you tell the calculator what it is you want to do with these cash flows. And we want to find their combined present value. Find the key in the second row of the calculator, which says NPV, net present value. Here in this problem, the meaning of it is combined present value. So press that. The display shows I equals. I is like IY, interest per year. You need to specify what the interest rate is per year. That's 12% in this problem. You press 12, enter, right? You don't press IY because the calculator already tells you that that's going to be your interest rate. So you just press 12 and then enter, which is what I did. And then press the down arrow key and then press compute. $1,432.93, just like on the slide. Okay, and I explain the same exact steps here. So these are the steps I went through.